We are going to divide two polynomials using a method called synthetic division. It's a little bit different from long division, but there's a couple things that I have to remember when I'm doing this. Number one, the polynomial that I'm dividing has to be in standard form. And also, I have to see if there are any missing terms. Notice this is 6x to the fifth minus 3x squared. So we've gone from a fifth term down to a second term. So I'm kind of missing a fourth and a third term in between. I have to account for that when I'm doing synthetic division. Also, the first step in this is I have to take what I'm dividing by, set it equal to 0, and solve it for x. In this case, I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and x is going to be equal to 1. So this is what I'm after, is this number, whatever x is equal to. And I take that, and I put it in a box similar to this. And then what I'm interested in for my original polynomial up here is the coefficients. And so I just pull out the coefficients. So the fifth term has a coefficient of 6. Remember I said I'm missing a fourth term, so I have to account for it. So I put a 0 in its place. I'm also missing a third term. I have to account for it. So I put a 0 in its place. Then I'm okay in here. I've got a second term. So I take that coefficient, which is a -3. And then notice the x term. I don't have a number. But remember, it's always understood to be 1. So that coefficient is 1. And then I got to use my constant term with its sign, which is a -2. All right, once I have all my coefficients, I'm pretty much ready to go. I just draw myself a line underneath. And the first step is I take the first term and I just drop it down below the line. It's going to be 6. Then I take this number that I put in the box over here and I multiply it times the 6, and it's going to go up here underneath the next coefficient. So 1 times 6 gives me 6. And then I add the 0 plus the 6 gives me 6. Then I multiply the 1 times the 6 gives me 6. I add the 0 and the 6 gives me 6 here. Then I go back and I multiply the 1 times the 6, and it gives me 6. Do you see the process or the step, the pattern? It all works basically the same way. The only thing that's different is on the first term, I drop the first term. All right, now I go back over here. I take the difference. -3 plus 6 gives me 3. Then I come back and I multiply the 1 times the 3. It goes here, and it gives me a 3. And I have 1 plus 3, which gives me 4. And then I have the 1 times the 4 gives me 4. And then -2 plus 4 gives me a 2. This number here is my remainder. And then I need to write my resulting polynomial. And I do that with the numbers that are left here across the bottom. I have to look at my degree of my polynomial. And remember, I started out with a 5th degree polynomial, so I dropped down a degree to write my result. So I started with the 5th degree, so my result is going to be a 4th degree. So I have 6x to the 4th plus 6x cubed plus 6x squared plus 3x plus 4. Notice I'm using these coefficients that I had left over. And then I also have to include the remainder, plus 2 divided by my polynomial that I was dividing by, my x minus 1. And there's my result. Now, one other note I want to throw in here is notice that this remainder, that indicates that x minus 1 is not a factor of this 5th degree polynomial. If it were a factor, my remainder would have been 0. In this case, it is not. So my result, once I divide this all together, is 6x to the 4th plus 6x cubed plus 6x squared plus 3x plus 4 plus my remainder 2 divided by my divisor x minus 1.